Guest tonight, Jack. Taraz, haven't been a Wednesday regular in a while, so I'm very happy to see you here. Tej, welcome back. Peter, Meghna, Parth, Ben, Piyush, Tanmay, Koshi, Kani, and Bala. Guest tonight, Jack. Ooh. Taraz, you're not... Sorry about that. That's the YouTube live for you. So anyhow, we've been talking about this nectar of instruction. Is that Shivadas? Yes. Haribol, Shivadas. Free to have a very nice day at work, by the way. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Shivadas. All right. So, it started off with Vacha Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udurapastha Vegam, Etan Vegam, Yovishaheta Diraha, Sarvam Apimam Prativim Sashishyat. And pretty much how the first three verses are actually describing what the elevated spiritual personality looks like, what a guru looks like, what Sri Guru looks like. So one, they control their speech, Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, they control the mind, and they control their anger. Jiva Vegam, they control their tongue. Udaropastha Vegam, they control their belly, the urges of their belly, and the urges of their genitals. That also has to be controlled. And then Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Diraha, a wise person, where does it say? This person who controls all these things is sober and wise, and they're actually Sarvam Apimam Prativim Sashishya. They're qualified to make disciples all over the world. So this is Brajesh. Wow, I'm so happy to see you again. And Roshan, come on in. Very happy to see you. Hare Krishna. So an extension of how they control their senses, they don't do these things. And we've been talking about this. And I think did we finish the actual purport last time, or we had like 2 paragraphs left? We had like 2 paragraphs left, right? So just remember, these are the things they don't do. Atyahara, prayasash, cha, prajalpo, niyamagraha, janasangas, chalolyam cha, and shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. Those 6 things destroy vinashyati bhaktir. It destroys devotional service. And we've concluded, what is devotional service really akin to? How to ruin what? It's your life, actually. Your life as a spirit soul is completely connected to how much devotional service you're doing. If you are not fulfilling your role as a soul of doing any devotional service, everything that you are doing in this world is destined to perish and die. And actually, it's what's mentioned in the Bhagavatam is useless labor. Who likes doing useless labor? Did you ever work on a long project and then oh crap, I did the wrong thing? I've done it so many times. I spent hours putting together something, and next thing I know, I did it all wrong, or I didn't need that thing. You're just oh, why did I waste my time doing that thing? Our whole life can be that thing if we don't cultivate devotional service. So this is not my opinion, actually. This is Krishna's opinion. So if you have a problem with Krishna's opinion, just take it up with Krishna and see how that goes. Okay. But he's pretty absolute. Jock actually sent me a nice verse today about Bhagavad Gita. How Krishna is pretty much the controller of all things, and everything is strung upon him as pearls are strung on a thread. He's the backbone, the foundation of everything. So we may have a problem with him, but it's like turning a gun to yourself and be I have a problem with you. This is he is our very source and foundation. So these are the things that ruin our devotional service. Atyahara is eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. Also, it's mentioned, Bhaktisiddhanta was mentioning in Prabhupada's purport, that collecting more knowledge than necessary. Like for instance, I have some responsibilities. I have to know how to do taxes. I have to know how to do, pay certain bills or make sure the plumbing's in order. All these things. But I'm not going to sit there and study books on the intricacies of plumbing unless I really, really have to, for some odd reason. It's just unnecessary knowledge, and it's an unnecessary waste of time. So there's so many knowledges, there's things in this world, all these fields of study that we spend so much time on, that probably don't matter. What really matters is ultimately what? What's your life source? Yeah, your devotional service, your connection and service to the Lord, your relationship with the Lord. So if we do this thing, then we have life, and then we do everything else in relation to that thing, then it's perfect. Like you can study the plumbing, or you can study how to do taxes to preserve your devotional life. No problem. Because guess what? Devotional centers need taxes, devotional centers need plumbing. All of these things have to happen. So you'll have to have some knowledge, but no more than necessary. Why? Prayasash. This is the next one. Over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Most of these things we endeavor for are so difficult. And at the end of the day, they're mundane. Whether it might be a certain job, it might be a certain position, it might be a certain relationship, it might be a certain this, that, or the other. There's so many shiny things of the material world. But ultimately, unless it's connected in devotional service, which is our practice here, which is Krishna's, again, this is not me just speaking my opinion, this is Krishna's opinion of Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion is bhakti, or devotional service. Unless it's connected in devotional service, or you're using that thing for devotional service, it is what? Useless what? What? Tanma, I heard. Did you say labor? Yes, it's useless labor. And none of us are interested in doing useless labor. We've been doing useless labor so much in this life, and we hate doing it. I know I do. When I do something and it didn't matter, I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's one of the most frustrating things for me. So we don't want this to be our life. So these things destroy our devotional life, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, and ultimately they have no connection to devotional service. 3, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Again, the analogy given in this verse was frogs. Frogs like to croak and croak and croak, but that croaking actually invites the snake to come find it and devour it. And we can talk and talk and talk and waste our life this way about so many things. Oh, look what Trump did now, or Biden did this thing, or this personality did this personality did this. And next thing you know, we wasted our whole life and we never pursued the absolute truth. And then when we're left to die, and it will happen eventually for all of us, what will we ultimately turn to? What solution? How did we live our lives? What techniques and skills did we build during our life? If we only learned how to try to enjoy this material world, guess what? It's not going to work at death. It's the time where you're going to leave all those things behind. So ultimately, if you cultivated bhakti throughout your life, you can turn to bhakti at death. I've heard many amazing stories of how devotees had died. Some of you went and visited Mayapur Chandra, right? A couple of Tanmay and Michael and Piyush, you went, and Meghna, you visited Mayapur Chandra. His father was part of the devotional community that I was part of, and he, during COVID, actually, he had passed away from this world. But it's very interesting because COVID was a really interesting time. They weren't letting relatives in for the passing and all these things. So he was in a really rough situation where he was alone in the hospital room at death. But interestingly enough, he at death, they somehow or other, because Mayapur Chandra and all his brothers are all doctors, they connected him to another devotee doctor that they knew and specialist, and they took him to him, and in the hospital. And this doctor, he was the only one there, but he reported at the end of his life, because what did he do his whole life? What most of us do every day, we turn to our japa beads and we chant the names of the Lord. And he didn't have japa beads, but he started chanting like on his japa beads, and he started chanting the names of the Lord. And actually, he left his body like that. And even very interesting, when they finally got to recover his body and do their last rites, in rigor mortis, Bala knows rigor mortis, he's a doctor. It's when the body stiffens after death. In rigor mortis, he was holding his japa beads, chanting the names of the Lord. And that's glorious. That is how one is supposed to die, actually, by the devotional understanding, calling upon the Lord. And this is Bhagavatam. And this is Bhagavad Gita as well. This is what Bhishma exemplifies in Bhagavatam shortly after the Mahabharata war. So anyhow, why talk about mundane things when we can always pursue the absolute truth? Here, matters of the highest caliber. Don't waste our time. Don't invite death. Because death will come. We don't have to invite it. 4 is niyamagraha, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations. 1, only for the sake of following rules. That's a no-no. And then 2, not caring for the rules at all. Who needs them? No, the rules, they're there for a reason, just like the rules of the road are there. If you bypass the guardrails and bypass all the stoplights and the stop signs and everything, no, I'm fine. Either an officer is going to get you or you're going to get in an accident or something bad will probably happen. So if you bypass the rules of scriptures, you're in trouble. But at the same time, if you only want to follow the rules of scriptures and you don't know why, then you're also in trouble. So this was explained very much in depth in this purport. We're just recapping. We're going on to the next part. Yes, but every week we need to recap this. Every day we should recap this, actually. What's that? Like that? Anytime anyone gives me advice on how to move this thing, I always regret it. Anyhow, the last is associating with worldly-minded persons, ultimately who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. We are who we associate with in the world. The business guys, they know this. If you want to be rich, you associate with rich people. That's why they have all these fraternities and sororities. Like in college, I got invited to be in some business fraternity because... Yes. Was Jack, were you here last week? No, he wasn't here. Yeah, he wasn't here last Wednesday. So, how about you, Roshan? Were you here last Wednesday? Okay, so it might be relevant. So anyhow, yes, we want to associate with like-minded persons. Prabhupada said the 2 most important things for spiritual advancement are what? That was one thing. Yes, I know. Prabhupada double-emphasized sadhu sangha. Why? Because in the midst of sadhu sangha, all the other important things like chanting the holy names, worshipping of the deity, studying the scriptures, and visiting the dhams, that will happen. Just by associating with the devotees, they will inspire you to do all the things you should be doing. But if you don't associate with the devotees, very difficult, very difficult. Sadhu Sangha is the most important thing for spiritual advancement. And this is, Lord Shiva, he prays for this in the Bhagavatam. This is a theme over and over and over again. This is how Narada Muni ultimately achieved his status as Devarishi Narada Muni in this life. He got sadhu sangha by good fortune. He was serving his mother, and by good fortune, a bunch of sadhus passed by at the time of the year, and by good fortune, Narada Muni got that. But the opposite of sadhu sangha is jana sangha. It's jana sangha is in this verse. And that's worldly association. And in the Bhagavatam, this is going to sound harsh because we all have a ton of worldly association. But it's compared to tigers, snakes, poison, a ring of fire. Because as soon as they start talking about what this politician did, or the stock market, or this thing and that thing, and next thing you know, we're interested, and then we're doing it, and we can get stuck in that for a long time. And who knows, we may never come back to spiritual inquiry ever again in this lifetime. You never know. So it's really very dangerous. So anyhow, this is the Upadeshamrita of Rupa Goswami, and this is for a very serious practitioner. But for whatever reason, you're all here, and this is very good. And finally, being greedy for mundane achievements, lolyam. There's a good lolyam. You could be greedy for spiritual life. That's very good. But if you're greedy for mundane achievements, or, like I said, this job, this relationship, this house, this shiny thing in the material world, if you're greedy for any of these things, it'll destroy your bhakti. So, by good fortune, we've done this like 4 or 5 weeks in a row, this verse, because it's a long purport. Prabhupada really gives everything here. But we had 2 paragraphs left, is that correct? What? No, that's the next verse. So anyhow, what's that? We want to read the last 3?
Oh yeah, because you stopped with the Sanskrit, right?
Yeah.
So you just read this.
Oh, so okay.
Like you read the translation, but then we just stopped.
Okay, so Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magradha kasya sviddanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So in your life, you are going to get a certain lot. You're going to get a certain amount of money available to you, a certain amount of education available to you, a certain amount of aristocracy, family, this, that, and the other. And you're going to get your set karma, you're going to have your set wealth, you're going to have the things that come to you. The wise, they accept that and are content. The less wise, they're the chasers. I got to make myself, I got to do this, and then they push and push and push and push. And then ultimately, the goal they're usually pushing for at the end, what is it, Tanmay? Megna knows. She's following my train of thought. Useless labor. It's useless labor. Why? Because at death, what does it mean? And we're all going towards death. We all see it. Who knows someone who hasn't died, who won't die? It's a trick question because Krishna says that all of the souls, they're never born nor do they ever die. But the body and what we identify in this world, all will die. This body, this identity. My name before I was Ram Das. I'm Ronald. My legal name is Ronald Medeo Jr. I'm a junior, no problem. But at death, that will not matter anymore. That name will go away. My relationship to my father in this lifetime will change. Who knows? He might be my son in the next lifetime, or a grandson. Who knows? He might be my sister in the next life. I have no idea. So anyway, we have all these relationships in this world, and they're going to change. But anyway, we should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Ultimately, they're Krishna's, so why pursue so heavily to chase Krishna's items? That doesn't mean we don't do anything. Many of you are students. You're given a certain amount of education. Your education, there's an expectation to do a certain amount of job, or you have to maintain yourself in this world. But, instead of pushing so hard to be the CEO of Google, maybe just see what job makes itself available. Okay, I can do this, I'm qualified, and you do this, and you practice devotional life in the midst, and if your job offers you more, that's your lot, cool, no problem. But you still do your devotional life. You don't all right, well, I'll minimize my devotional life because I'll work hard now for my material objectives. I'll get to it later. You might run out of time. And if you build these habits of just chasing material throughout your whole life, you'll never get the time because now you built these habits there. All you've done is just chase material things. So this is very dangerous. So anyway, Prabhupada says, Krishna-conscious devotees know very well that this material world is designed by the complete arrangement of the Lord to fulfill all the necessities of life for all living beings, without their having to encroach upon the life or rights of one another. This complete arrangement affords the proper quota of wealth for everyone according to his real needs, and thus everyone may live peacefully according to the principle of plain living and high thinking. Unfortunately, materialists who have neither faith in the plan of God nor any aspiration for higher spiritual development misuse their God-given intelligence only to augment means to increase their material possessions. They devise many systems, such as capitalism and materialistic communism, to advance their material position. They are not interested in the laws of God or in a higher goal, always anxious to fulfill their unlimited desires for sense gratification. They are conspicuous by their ability to exploit their fellow living beings. Always anxious to fulfill their unlimited desires for sense gratification, right? Gandhi, he said, there's enough in this world for every man's need, right? But there's not enough in this world for one man's greed, right? Because there's unlimited greedy desires. I had sorry, I'll bring this up, but it was just cute. I was speaking with a young boy, and he told me he had an ambition. He wants to be the richest man in the world. And I said, the richest man in the world? It is so difficult. But but this is the nature. When I was a kid, I wanted to be, the best baseball player in the world, or the best this, or the best that, or but all of these things, ultimately, what are they good for? Who knows the song?
Absolutely.
Absolutely nothing. Say it again, right? It's not. What are they good for? It's good for nothing, really, because at death it will be lost. Who is a Hank Aaron? I liked baseball when I was a kid. Hank Aaron was the leading home run hitter. When I was a kid, he was the one who held the record before all the steroid guys got in there. But he passed away a few years ago. So what good now? Yes, his name is on a statistic list. In 100 years, baseball might not even be a sport anymore. So like this, what good is all these achievements? He worked so hard. And we work so hard for so many things. I'll be the best. Shivadas is a real estate agent. Then you're working in the different corporate things like this. If you reach the top level of your position, what good will it be after you leave? You'll be a plaque on the wall. And then eventually they'll take the plaque down. So like this, we should not waste our time. Ultimately, everything is designed by the will to fulfill the desires of the living entities in this world. But ultimately, when we learn the Lord's position, we should solely desire the Lord. That's what the Hare Krishna movement is all about. We're Krishna conscious. We shift our consciousness to the mundane or the temporary things of this world to the eternal principle. And that is Krishna. And so everything should be in relation to that. Everything. So when human society gives up these elementary faults enumerated by Srila Rupa Goswami, Atyahara, all enmity will cease between men and animals, capitalists and communists, and so forth. In addition, all problems of economic or political maladjustment and instability will be solved. So if actually we cultivated these qualities, or not cultivated these qualities, if we removed ourselves of these bhakti spoiling qualities, and somehow or other the whole world went like this, it would be heaven on earth. It would be a paradise. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But we can do it for ourselves, actually. And how do we do this? What are these verses describing? They're describing the spiritual master and what his activities are like. And if you find such a person who has these qualities, then you serve them, you hear from them, you ask questions before them, and they can help you, just like they were helped. That's the principle of Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession. We get very, we're talking about a frog. A frog, when it's has its defense mechanism, do you know what it does? No, it's Prabhupada said, yeah. It puffs up. It puffs up. And what's puffed up mean? It means I'm bigger. I'm trying to look bigger than I am. It's just air. He's really this small, but he just fills himself with air and yes. So like this. But we are all, a lot of times at the end of the day, we don't want to admit, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not happy. I haven't figured life out. But when then we get around other people, we puff ourselves up. I'm great. How are you? I'm good. I'm amazing. Right? Who says, I'm miserable? No one says. But actually at home what's that? Yeah, for many years people would ask me, especially when I first started Krishna consciousness, I was a little way too sober. Yeah, they would ask me, how are you? I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm like, oh, you're depressing. But actually I was very sober at the time. I was saying, yes, I'm just getting by. I'm figuring out the whole paradigm of the world as I knew it it leads me to a very miserable situation. So, but anyhow, this is the puffed up. Oh, I'm good. I've got it all figured out. This is not good. We should be very humble. We should realize, no, I don't think I have it figured out. And we should approach somebody. There's only two types of people can be happy, right? In the Bhagavatam states. What two types? Meghna, you know?
The most intelligent and the most foolish.
Yes. The completely foolish person, think of the person who's wildly intoxicated at the bar, and their favorite celebrity dance show is on, and they're just they're happy. They won't be happy as soon as they learn a little bit or probably wake up in the morning, but at the moment they're happy. And then the other happy people in this world are who? Yeah, the completely enlightened person. The one who knows the Lord's hand behind everything, the reality of the Lord everywhere. Like Prahlad Maharaj was able to see Nrsimha, even in the pillar, everywhere, at all times, always able to say the Lord's hand in everything, the Lord's position in everything. He could always be happy. But every one of us in between, we're dealing with some kind of suffering and misery, one thing or another. It's just not going as planned. Is it not? Whose life is going as planned? None of us. It's impossible. Our plans are not so good. Well, we don't have a lot of foresight. But no problem. If we're surrendered to the Lord, if we've cultivated bhakti, we realize everything's the Lord's plan. It's all good. It's all a shift in perspective. But easier said than done. I can speak like that, but then as soon as something I plan to do later doesn't go right, then God, So it's a training, a process to really surrender and to really rely on the Lord. So anyhow, in addition, all problems of... Okay, no, we read that. This pure consciousness is awakened by the proper spiritual education and practice offered scientifically by the Krishna consciousness movement. That's the purpose, is to give proper education about the scientific process of Krishna consciousness. This isn't like a whimsical thing. This is a science. This is an art. This follows a process. There's a finesse to it. It's not just like, all right, well, just add Krishna. I can do anything I want now, like no problem. Let me go to the strip club and I'll just chant Hare Krishna and I'm going to be perfect. Not going to work. There's a process. There's how to do it. Actually, this thing is telling you, all right, these are the things you got to clear away. And now this next verse is going to tell us, now these are the things you have to do. But first, if you don't find somebody who's controlling the senses, if you don't find somebody who is practicing these things, then you're also not going to find that person will be doing these things. So anyway, the last paragraph is, this Krishna consciousness movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition in the world. Every intelligent man should purify his consciousness and rid himself of the above-mentioned 6 hindrances to devotional service by taking wholehearted shelter of this Krishna consciousness movement. So this was Prabhupada's vision and mission, and this is our vision and mission, is to carry this on for him. We are serving other self-realized souls who are also carrying on this mission. So this is this is the movement right here. In Syracuse, this is how the movement has expanded. So, like this. Now, would you like to know what to do? We've learned for many classes now what not to do and how to ruin our lives. But let's get a little positive. How to actually save our lives. Does that sound good? All right, repeat after me. Well, first, let me just offer a quick pranams to the gurus. This was just recap up until this point. But this very beautiful prayer. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And then we can do Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. That's the shortened full pranams of everyone. Covers everyone there. Is that good?
It is now.
Okay. Nope.
We did some weird Wi-Fi thing for a second.
No problem. that prayer wasn't a traditional ISKCON prayer, so maybe it wanted to hide that. so anyway, no problem. Krishna has got my back. Maybe the wrong person was watching. No problem. So, and we can chant one more. We can chant Prabhupada's pranams, even though we sang it before. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nevisheshu Nivari Pasha Deshatarini. Especially we're reading Srila Prabhupada's book. And if you want to know more about this book, it's right here. This is called The Nectar of Instruction. It's a short book, but it's very powerful. If you want to get like the crash course on Krishna Bhakti, this is the crash course. You will want to go forward and get the whole course, like in that Srimad Bhagavatam, you get the whole course right there. But this is the crash course. And if you want to know, all right, where do you start and where are we going very quickly? 11 verses, boom. You get 11 verses of pure elevator right to the top, but you will want to expand all of these things. Let's read this verse. Utsahan nishchaya deryat. Give it a try. Tatat karma pravartana. Sangatyagat sato vrite. Shadbir bhakti prasidhyati. Very good. Okay. Utsahat. By enthusiasm. Nishchayat. By confidence. Daryat. By patience. Tat karma. Various activities favorable for devotional service. Pravartanat. By performing. Sangatyagat. By giving up the association of non-devotees. Sata. Of the great previous acharyas. Vrite. By following in the footsteps. Shadbi. By these 6. Bhakti. Devotional service. Prasidhyati. Advances or becomes successful. So again, the last verses were what destroy your bhakti, and this verse is what will advance your bhakti. If you imagine you guys garden, Chuck, you garden at your house?
We do.
You do? What's your favorite thing to grow?
It's actually my significant other who's the gardener.
What's her favorite thing to grow?
Oh, carrots.
Carrots.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Okay, tomatoes are good. Yeah. So okay. So let's say we have like a nice tomato plant. So we're actually really interested in growing in our hearts the plant of bhakti. But unfortunately, there's many things when you garden. If you let other things grow alongside what you're cherishing and trying to grow, it will steal all the nutrients, and also its roots will come and strangle it, and it may kill it. So the last verses are like the other weeds that are alongside that are strangling and killing your chance at bhakti, which, as we mentioned, this is our life. This is the function of the soul, to serve the Lord. This is what the soul was ultimately created for as part of divine service. We're parts and parcels of Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadasa, Krishnera Tasta Shakti, Beta Prakasha. So, and what that means is the constitutional position of the soul is we are eternal servants of Krishna. We are Krishna's marginal energy, and we are simultaneously one with, but completely different from him. One with in quality, but way different in quantity. Krishna is the total, and we're just like the difference between a little crumb of pizza and the full pizza. Like that. Krishna is the full pizza, but we're the crumb. And if we act in conjunction with all the other little crumbs, it's a really nice pizza. But if we want to split off and make ourselves, well, I'm the supreme crumb over here, no problem. Maybe someone will pick you up and, that was okay. But it's not the whole pizza. So anyhow, these things will advance your bhakti. So in order to do gardening, you first have to remove the weeds. It doesn't matter, you're not trying to sit there and grow. I know some things in permaculture, they try and let everything grow around. But really, when agriculture was established, in order to maximize, if anything you buy from the store, they're practicing like this. Why? What do? They prepare the environment. So for you to practice bhakti, you have to prepare the environment. Now, once the environment is prepared, you know what to look for. You know it has to do with controlling yourself. You have to control all these urges. You have to find others who are doing this thing, and at least someone more advanced than you doing this thing who could help you. And you have to find someone who knows how to clear all the weeds and help you clear the weeds. And then now this is how you can actually make your plant grow. But remember, if you don't clear the weeds, if you don't really hammer in, that's why we did it for so many weeks. And why Prabhupada gave so much in that purport. If you don't clear the weeds, you have no chance for your bhakti to grow. Just like if you don't clear the other weeds out of the way, your tomatoes aren't going to grow. You have to really prepare the soil and make sure, there's a weed coming, get out. Like this. So if you don't do this step, deep trouble. But now this is how to make it grow. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. Let's repeat them. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. I don't need to number them. Acting according to regulative principles. So this is such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, which is the... You could say that, go ahead. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23. These are the 9 processes of bhakti, again given by Prahlad Maharaj. Beautiful. But the most important one is, we'll get there, but Shravanam is what you're doing right now. Kirtanam is what I have the good fortune of doing right now. Shravanam is hearing. You should hear about the Lord. You should hear about how to worship the Lord. You should hear all the processes, all things related to the Lord. That's Shravanam. Kirtanam is to then take what you've heard and you share it. You can't do Kirtanam without Shravanam first. You'll have nothing to Kirtan without Shravan. Like you can't chant the Mahamantra without first hearing the Mahamantra. Is it right? So anything that you can recite, you must have heard before. So the number one most important process, especially in the beginning, is Shravanam. And then Kirtanam is going to be the thing that keeps nourishing you and takes you to the next thing. So anyhow, he mentions hearing, why is this doing? Hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna in the parentheses. You want to say, go ahead.
Hearing, chanting, and remembering.
Okay, number 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. Well, it's heavy, but here we go. 2 in a row. This is the thing to clear the weeds. You shouldn't associate with worldly mind and association, and these are the things you should do. Abandon the association of those people. It's that important. It's so important. If you want to try and keep going in the association of worldly people, you'll see. Just try and make advancement. It'll be very difficult because they're going to distract you. And not that you can't serve them. I have plenty of family members. I have plenty of people I'm dealing with and associating with in the world. But ultimately, as soon as I can't be of service and bhakti to them anymore, I'll say, all right, I'll see you later. And no problem. Why? Because you'll find this is necessary for your spiritual health. It's necessary. And then 6, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Remember, that is our constitutional position as a soul. So you will have complete success as a soul if you can follow these 6 principles. After first, clear out the weeds, set your life straight, prepare the field to actually be successful. Prepare the soil in the gardening analogy. So we can actually plant the seeds of bhakti and then let them grow. So, Prabhupada will mention, this is a great verse. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has defined devotional service as follows. This is a very important verse, so why don't we all together. Anya vilashita shunyam Jnana karma dhyanavritam Anukulyena krishnanu Shilanam bhakti uttama. So it's found in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 19.167. This actually becomes as part of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is in English, Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion. Very, very powerful verse. If Prabhupada, I don't know if he translated it out in English or he just summarized. Yes, good, he did the translation. So, Bhakti or Uttama, or Prabhupada says, Uttam Bhakti, or the topmost Bhakti, or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. So this is anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. Activities in which that are favorable to Krishna. So this is what topmost devotional service is. But remember, in order to do activities which are favorable to Krishna, we'd have to clear the weeds, right? So the weeds are the first part. Anyabilashita shunyam. And anyabilashita is material desires. And shunyam, you have to become devoid of material desires. And then jnana karma dhyanavritam. Jnana, material desires in relation to knowledge. Well, I want to acquire all this knowledge. I want to learn the Kama Sutras. I want to learn this thing. I want to learn that thing. All these things that don't have to do with devotional service. Let me max out the stock market. Let me do this, that, and the other thing. Let me learn all these technicalities and things. They're going to get in your way. Karma. I need this activity. I need this house. I need this amount of money. I need this job. I need this, and that. That's going to get in your way. You got to clear these weeds. And this one, Adi, it has to do with renunciation and mystic ability in yoga even. So you're not trying to open your third eye, open all your chakras and try and get all the powers of the universe so you can, ultimately go get a bunch of things of this world. That's why most people try to get their cities or yogic superpowers. Because why? They want to master this world, and they want to enjoy this world.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Dazzle your friends and confuse your enemies.
What's that?
Dazzle your friends and confuse your enemies.
Yeah, to dazzle your friends and confuse your enemy.
Ego trip.
Yeah, it's right. It's just another spiritual ego trip, or a pseudo-spiritual ego trip. And you see this in the spiritual world, or the spiritual circles you're in, where people are having all kinds of really interesting. I know people who thought they became the Messiah by I got some little bit of mystic ability here. I have some more intuitive gifts and things. I'm the next Jesus. I know people who had to go away for some time because the family was really not liking. But this can happen if you're not careful. So anavrita means to be covered by those things, covered by those false ego trips. So if we're covered by them, that means we didn't clear the field. We're not ready to actually practice bhakti. We're not that trinadapi sunichena. We're not more humble than the straw on the street. Or tarorapi sahishna, more tolerant than a tree. These are the qualifications to practice bhakti. You have to you have to check yourself before you wreck yourself. So this devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma and personal jnana and all other selfish desires. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo-yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting materialistic activities. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical and mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Sri Prahlad Maharaj recommends. This is another very important verse. You should learn this. I'm trying. There it is. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Bandhanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. So important. So this was kind of mentioned in the translation of this verse. The 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. 1. Shravanam is hearing the name and the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when you actually sit and come and hear Harikatha, you can take the time and tolerate that we're trying to share some message. This is Shravanam. This is very good, very important. So this is actually the first step. You have to do this. And then, next step, chanting His glories. Taking what you've heard about the name and glories of the Lord, now your turn to share. Everyone has someone in your life that you can impact and help. You will get great ecstasy from doing this. My wife was asking me today, she's like, are you feeling like really inspired in your Krishna consciousness? And I was saying, no, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I explained, when these two things are happening in my life, I'm feeling very enlivened. When like we had Nrsinga here the past few days, and Nrsinga is a very experienced devotee. So when I had the chance to flip the switch, my kirtan is turned off, and now I get to do some shravanam. Very inspired. But then, no problem. Now Nrsinga is gone, and all the other senior devotees are gone. Flip the switch back. Okay, now my turn to do kirtan. No problem. The shravan can still keep going. But you guys, flip the switch in your life now. Try some kirtan. Learn something, hear something, and then share something. If you want to be inspired. And that's what I told her ultimately. That is like, when I get high class association of advanced devotees, I'm very inspired. But when I'm not getting that association, the only time I'm inspired is when I actually am doing some like preaching. So, which is sharing. Preaching has negative connotations now in this age, but but essentially that's what will enliven you. Why? Because it's a process of devotional service. So if you're looking for more inspiration in this process, try sharing. Try sharing. So that will lead to what? Vishnu Smaranam, remembering the Lord. You can actually remember the Lord that way. You've heard. Now you're sharing it, and when you share something, it'll get double in force, and people will start holding you accountable. Like, hey, remember when you told me this? And especially when you don't want to look like an idiot, and you're like, oh yeah, I should follow that advice. They're all looking at me now, So like this. So this will teach you to remember the Lord. 4, Pada Sevanam, serving the Lord's feet. This has to do with, the devotees. This also could be with the study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the first 2 cantos are considered the Lord's feet. And beginning the process of Archanam, which is the next one, worshiping the deity. Next, offering obeisances unto the Lord. In all aspects of life, even when we come and we do the processes here, we bow to the Lord, we understand like this. Even we bow to each other, the devotees. 7, acting as the Lord's servant. Throughout your life, everything you're doing. Some of you, like for instance, I don't mean to shout anyone out, but I've been really impressed with Peter, really taking that mood lately over the past few months of really humbly taking, no, I'm just trying to do service. And that is such a healthy mood. It's an advanced move. I hope I don't puff up your false ego, but I have to give credit where it's due. I was really been noticing. 8, making friends with the Lord. Feeling eventually that, I'm so inclined to serving the Lord. I'm always His well-wisher and friend. And I'm always feeling nurtured and cared for by the Lord, recognizing the intimacy of the Lord in your life, how He's always been acting as your friend. And then 9, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. When you make a significant amount of advancement, you'll realize there's nothing else for you. So anyway, next time we will go into this, because Prabhupada's actually going to break all of these down. Oh, and he gives another really important verse in Bhagavad Gita, one of the most important. So anyhow, we'll get into this next week a bit more. I'll give a moment for questions, and then we'll end with a little kirtan and then have prasad. Does that sound good? Any questions or anything like that? Yes, Kashik.
On April 28th is my last day at college.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So what's the question?
You got one?
No problem.
Yes.
Yes. What's the question?
And I'm going to do a celebration at an inclusive food party. I'm walking up the stage on May 10th.
Well, that is very wonderful, and we're wishing you all success and all glories to Krishna for getting you through college. Haribol! So, any other question? Very good, Kashik. Any other question? Peter.
How can we make friends with the Lord?
Well, the best thing to do is find the friends of the Lord already and make friends with them. And so that would be the devotees. Those who already have that established relationship. Just like, Who's somebody you want to meet? And who is a celebrity you once... anyone like any celebrities at one point in their life? I used to like Derek Jeter.
Yeah, I was just gonna-
Derek Jeter, he was like the Yankees, captain, exemplary personality. And so if I wanted to meet Derek Jeter, I can maybe like just wait till I see him passing in a tunnel and be like, Derek Jeter, but he's probably not going to invite me, over for dinner or anything like that, just like that. But you know what? If I know a friend of Derek Jeter and I say, hey, I really want to meet this guy. If I have any shot at all to meet Derek Jeter, it's going to probably be someone who's close with him. All right, I can get you in. Come on. I know when he's relaxing, the paparazzi are all down and things like that. So just like that, and what in the business world, what do they say? How do you get the jobs? It's not what you know, it's what?
Who you know?
Yeah, it's who you know. So if you want to become friends with the Lord, you want to be in the Lord's VIP, all right, you got to know somebody who's really dear with the Lord. And that's the importance of finding people that you can do Shravanam with. You can hear, okay, so you might hear, okay, you're not so familiar with all the vast body of scriptures and understanding all the Lord's conclusions. But maybe somebody is. And they can tell you, no, if you just adjust this thing, the Lord really likes when you do this. And then boom, he can help you or she can help you get more dear to the Lord just by helping you make the adjustment. Why? Because they know the process. They've made advancement. They're in with the Lord a bit now. But if you don't know anybody dear to the Lord, who are friends with the Lord, you're probably not going to get into the friend group. Just like, when maybe you guys were in high school and there's all the cliques, right? And there's the popular clique. And I know for me, I was like, I got to get into this clique. But if I knew one person, I made one friend with one person in the clique, that was my shot in, and I can go to the party and then I can make more friends. But ultimately, if you don't get your foot in the door, if you don't associate with the devotees and find that person who has that friendship with the Lord, then, yeah, it's very unlikely that you just stay by yourself and do it. No, there may be certain examples where your sincerity is very sincere, and maybe the Lord, He really He is interested in friendship with everyone. But there's kind of an art to it. There's kind of a way you act in friendship to the Lord, and you might have to learn the etiquettes and like that. Very good question, though. Any last thing? Parth.
On Monday, the Bhagavatam verse that we described by Nrsimha Prabhu, basically I just read the translation.
Yeah, please,
The
because I don't
association
remember.
of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and therefore he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. So till then, what we are doing is not real devotional service,
Yes, how do I say this? Bhakti, we described it earlier. This anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavrtam anukulyana krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. Uttam bhakti is that real devotional service talked about in that verse. The topmost devotional service. Where we're at right now is we're approaching devotional service with jnana karma dhyanavrtam. We're covered by certain desires for knowledge, covered by certain desires for karma or fruitive results in this world, and adi, certain levels of renunciation and certain levels of yogic mysticism. And so we're approaching Krishna because maybe we see he's the way. We might know that he gives those things too. Well, God is the one who's going to give me all those things. So maybe we're doing some bhakti, some devotion to the Lord, but we're still covered by that thing. I want my material life to go great. That's why I'm coming to the Lord. Maybe I'm curious, for whatever reason. But ultimately, it's not out of pure devotion. So ultimately, how do you get that pure devotion? You have to hear from pure devotees. So this is the process. Unfortunately, tonight you have to hear from me. But we have other guests who we know to be purer than ourselves, and or at least we know to be very sincere, coming here over the next few months. So come in here and hear the different varieties of devotees that we'll invite here. And if you know any other wonderful devotees, please invite them, and we'd love to coordinate. We're always trying to meet the pure devotees, but it is a pretty rare thing, so we're getting to know a lot of the ones that are very prominent and existing. Like this, but it's not going to be real devotional service until, how do you say? Because what's talked about in that verse is like Bhav. That's a very, very, very high. There may not even be that many devotees in the whole world on that stage. Where real, in that verse it's translated as real, but this Uttam Bhakti is being practiced. But where we're at in our stage, practicing any bhakti is good. Doing some bhakti. But right now we're in what's called sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means like a means to attain the goal. The sadhya is the goal, sadhana is the practice to attain the goal. So it's like kind of practice bhakti. You're not like, Peter is teaching Tanmai how to drive a car. And so when he goes to the parking lot with Tanmai, he's practice driving. It's not the real thing yet, but it's the thing that's going to get him on the road and eventually drive, So right now we're in the parking lot, and we're learning how to do this thing, and we've got the cones around us, we've got the deities, and we've got we're going through the rituals, and we're practicing, but we're not really doing the real thing yet. That's sadhana bhakti. We're in the parking lot until Bhav Bhakti, which is very advanced. In this stage, those people, once they achieve Bhav, they're going to leave the world soon. They've got nothing left in the world to really hold on to. So this is a very rare thing. But yes, it's very rare. It's very rare. But we're doing something. We're in the parking lot. Did you learn how to drive yet? A little bit? Did you go to the parking lot? Not okay. So yours is all theoretical right now. That's okay too. We can read books. It can be theory, and then some of us we can come and engage in the activities, and we can get in the parking lot, and we'll probably be stuck in the parking lot for a while. There's a pretty rigid test we have to pass before we can get out on the road. But I like that. It depends what you consider. The real thing is there. The sprout is there. It's just not ripened. Nrsinga was talking about this the other day, right? Do you remember when he was talking about the ripening? Yeah. When it's just like when you grow a tomato plant. In the beginning, the tomato plant, you see it growing. It's growing nice and it's big and leaves are coming. The everything's cleared on the bottom. It's growing nicely. But until it ripens and produces the fruit and the tomato is ready to pluck, it's not ready to really, deliver that ultimate juice. So similarly in our bhakti creeper, as it's growing, until it ripens and achieves prem, it's not really fully juicy yet, full of ras. Juice is the actual word, the Sanskrit word they give, ras. But this is, it's definitely in our best interest to grow the plant. And do the process, water it with sadhu sangha, and keep making advancement. And do this processes of shravanam and kirtanam, hearing from the advanced devotees, and then start to share what you've heard, and reinforce your practices. And then, you'll see. The fruit will be there, even when the plant is growing and the weeds are clear. You'll get so much relief. You'll be like, oh man, I'm not strangled by all this burden in my life. Because when you're trying to grow the plant but you're strangled by weeds, it's a struggle. But if you clear the field and start the process and you start the practices, which we're all doing here, we're all doing this, right? Every one of you who are living here and doing the practices every day with us, it's what we're doing. But there might be some process of some weed clearing and some other things we have to do to let it grow. So just carry on and don't let weeds grow up. These are the weeds. Jnana karma dhyanavritam. When you have some knowledge, even if it's an antenna or work knowledge or something like this, or some fruits or first prize or this prize or that prize, Parth is like a huge success in all of his material endeavors. He's always getting prizes for all of his works and things like this.
Going to Sweden.
Yeah, he just got
Yeah.
sent to Sweden. No problem. You could do all these things with the heart for Krishna. But you know what's an over endeavor and what's not an over endeavor. So I don't know. I don't see what you're doing every day. I just see you're gone most of the day. But no problem. I'm happy you made tonight. It's rare to get Parth on a Wednesday night. That's a difficult time for him. So anyhow, don't get distracted by these things. And if you have some tendency for any of them, we all do to some degree still, then you'll know that, okay, I'm not really tasting it yet. That fruit hasn't ripened yet. Nor is it probably even that close. But keep growing, no problem. Yes. Oh. Okay. All right, I think we should end. Do you want to do, can we do a 5? No, we're supposed to end at 7:30. We used to go to 8:30, but we're going to do 7:30. Can we do a 7-minute kirtan? Is that okay? Not a burden? Okay. Thank you guys so much. Shri Upadeshamrita ki, Rupa Goswami ki jai. All right. So thanks who joined on.